Hello, my name is Jason Robertson, and I've been asked by the Sanbao School of Chinese Medicine in Santiago to speak a bit about an upcoming series of classes we're going to be doing online with the school. And in preparing for, talking about these classes, I was thinking about my teacher, Beijing professor Dr. Wang Juyi. And one of the things he would often say to a very common question students had was, "It depends." And that's often one of the most irritating answers you get from any of your teachers. Some of you listening may have noticed that. If someone says, "Oh, I have a patient with diabetes, I have a patient with insomnia, I even have a patient with knee pain or shoulder pain, what would you do? What are the points you use for that?" And Dr. Wang's answer, by the way, first of all, he often didn't like that question because there was needed, more information is needed. But also, it really does depend, as any of you who've been practicing have noticed. To not be able to come up with a protocol answer to a complaint has inspired research I did with Dr. Wang for over 20 years, which eventually culminated in he and I working on a textbook called Applied Channel Theory in Chinese Medicine. And that book is really a long-form answer to that question: what do we do in the clinic? How do we figure out what to do in the presence of illness? And in that exploration of answering that question, Dr. Wang took me, and then through our work and our translation, took all of us through an exploration of how did the authors and practitioners in the era of the Neijing, the inner classic, how did they see how the body worked? What was normal physiology first? And only by understanding their way of seeing, their way of understanding the body, would we be more able to figure out ways of treating. And it's really an honor to spend some time with you guys there, going back to the very basics of his approach to Chinese medicine. And this is the thing that we might call in modern medical education, clinical reasoning. How does an experienced physician pass along his way of understanding, his way of approaching the patient to the next generation? We can start at the beginning, start at the basics of perception in Chinese medicine, understanding what is happening in normal physiology, and then from that, creating a diagnosis. And so our first 2-hour session, I want to go through the idea of clinical reasoning in classical Chinese medicine. In other words, what were people doing in the clinic? How were they even thinking about the body? And then the second one, we will come to specifically how Dr. Wang Juyi used these ideas from the Neijing to create a clinical approach. And that approach fundamentally was not about which point treats which illness, which instead was cultivating an ability to perceive which of the 6 channels is most likely involved in the pattern of illness in front of you. Is the approach to clinical reasoning that I want to introduce in these first 2 sessions with students there is, how does the Neijing see the body? And then secondly, how do we think of channels first and then points secondarily? And by exploring these 2 concepts, I hope to give all of you a flexible way to approach the clinic. This will all come to light in our hours together, and I'm really honored to be working with my excellent colleague, Rodrigo Aranda, who will be translating to Spanish for our work, and he also is a senior student of Dr. Wang Juyi. So this is really a rare opportunity for 2 of us to get together to discuss some fundamental concepts in applied channel theory, and of course, create clinically useful ideas that all of you can take back to your clinics at home. I look forward to meeting you, and thanks again to the Sanbao School for arranging this exciting class. See you soon.